Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. This is not just a love story. This is a story about young hearts, family hatred, secret love, destiny, misunderstanding, and tragedy. For hundreds of years, people have read this story, watched it on stage, studied it in schools, and remembered its beautiful but painful message. Romeo and Juliet became famous because it shows something very human. It shows how love can be pure, but the world around it can be cruel. It shows how young people can dream of peace, but old anger can destroy their future. It shows how family pride, ego, and hatred can become more dangerous than any weapon. And it also teaches one unforgettable lesson. When hatred becomes stronger than love, innocent people suffer. This story takes place in Verona, a beautiful city in Italy. But inside this beautiful city, there is a deep problem. Two powerful families hate each other: the Montague family and the Capulet family. Their hatred is old, their anger is deep, and nobody even remembers properly why it began. But everyone continues it. That is the tragedy. Sometimes people inherit hate like property. They do not ask, "Why are we fighting?" They only continue the fight because their family taught them to continue it. And in the middle of this hatred, two young people meet: Romeo Montague and Juliet Capulet. They come from enemy families. They should hate each other. They should stay away from each other. But instead, they fall in love. Their love is beautiful, but their world is dangerous. Their hearts want peace, but their families want pride. Their love wants life, but hatred pushes them toward death. Before we begin, if you want to learn about the life of William Shakespeare, his biography is already uploaded on my channel. You can watch that video too and understand the great writer behind this unforgettable story. And now, let us begin the story of Romeo and Juliet in a simple, beautiful, and easy way. This story will also help you improve your English. While watching, listen carefully, repeat beautiful sentences, and learn useful words like love, tragedy, hatred, pride, family, destiny, promise, sacrifice, and heartbreak. If you enjoy simple English stories and meaningful lessons like this, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and keep learning with me. Chapter 1. The City of Verona and the Two Enemy Families. Our story begins in Verona. Verona is a beautiful city in Italy. There are streets, houses, markets, families, young people, old people, celebrations, and daily life. From outside, Verona looks peaceful. But inside the city, there is a poison. That poison is hatred. Two rich and powerful families live in Verona. The first family is the Montague family. The second family is the Capulet family. Both families have name, status, servants, relatives, and pride. But they also have one terrible thing. They hate each other. This hatred is not small. It is not only a private argument inside the home. It has spread into the streets. Whenever servants of these families meet, they fight. Whenever young men from these families see each other, they become angry. Even small words can become a big fight. Even one look can become an insult. The whole city is tired of their violence. The people of Verona want peace. But the Montagues and Capulets continue fighting again and again. This is how the story begins. Not with love, but with hate. One day, servants from both families meet in the street. They begin arguing. Their words become sharper. Their pride becomes hotter. Soon, the argument becomes a fight. Swords are taken out. People gather. The street becomes dangerous. Then Benvolio enters. Benvolio is from the Montague side. He's Romeo's cousin and friend. Benvolio is not a violent person. He wants peace. He tries to stop the fight, but then Tybalt enters. Tybalt is from the Capulet family. He is Juliet's cousin. Tybalt is proud, angry, and quick to fight. When Tybalt sees Benvolio with a sword, he becomes furious. Benvolio says he is trying to keep peace. But Tybalt does not care. Tybalt hates peace when a Montague is involved. For him, the name Montague is enough reason to fight. So the street fight becomes worse. More people join. The noise grows. The anger spreads. This shows us something important. Hatred is like fire. At first, it may start small, but if people keep feeding it, it spreads everywhere. One person's anger becomes another person's anger. One family's pride becomes a city's suffering. Finally, the Prince of Verona arrives. The prince is the ruler of the city. He is tired of the fighting. He has seen this violence too many times. He is angry because the Montagues and Capulets are disturbing the peace of Verona. So he gives a serious warning. He says that if they fight again in the streets, they will pay with their lives. This means the prince is no longer ready to tolerate their hatred. The message is clear. If this violence continues, death will come. This warning is very important because it creates danger for the rest of the story. Now, any fight between the two families can bring terrible punishment. After the fight ends, the story slowly moves toward Romeo. Romeo is the son of the Montague family. But Romeo is not thinking about family war at this moment. He's not excited about fighting. He's not proud like Tybalt. Romeo is sad. He's quiet. He's lost in his own feelings. His parents are worried about him. He walks alone. He stays away from people. He looks unhappy. Benvolio talks to Romeo and tries to understand what is wrong. Romeo tells him that he is in love with a girl named Rosalind. But Rosalind does not love him back. Romeo feels heartbroken. He believes his pain is very deep. He talks like love has wounded him. He feels that life is heavy because the person he loves does not return his love. At this point, Romeo is a dreamer. He is emotional. He believes deeply in love. But his love for Rosalind is distant. It is more like imagination than real connection. He loves the idea of love. He loves the feeling of being in love. But he has not yet met Juliet. Benvolio wants to help Romeo. He tells him to forget Rosalind. He says Romeo should look at other beautiful girls. But Romeo does not believe this will help. He thinks Rosalind is the only one. This is very human. When people are young and heartbroken, they often think one person is their whole world. They feel like pain will never end. But life can change in one meeting. And Romeo's life is about to change. On the other side of Verona, the Capulet family is preparing for a big party. Lord Capulet, Juliet's father, is planning a feast. There will be music, dancing, guests, and celebration. Many important people will come. This party becomes the place where destiny begins to move. Before the party, another important conversation happens. A man named Paris wants to marry Juliet. Paris is rich, noble, and respected. He speaks to Lord Capulet about marriage. But Juliet is very young. She's only 13 years old in the original story. Lord Capulet says she is still young, but he is not completely against the idea. He tells Paris to win Juliet's heart. This shows us something about society at that time. Marriage was often connected to family, status, and decision-making by parents. Love was not always the first question. Family approval mattered. Social position mattered. A daughter's future was often decided by others. Juliet has not even entered the love story yet, but already people are discussing her marriage. This is important because Juliet's life is not fully her own. She's loved by her family, but she's also controlled by family expectations. Soon we meet Juliet. Juliet is young, innocent, gentle, and obedient. At the beginning, she's not rebellious. She listens to her mother. She respects her family. She does not speak like someone who wants to fight against the world. Lady Capulet, Juliet's mother, talks to her about Paris. She asks Juliet what she thinks about marriage. Juliet gives a careful answer. She says she will look at Paris and try to like him if her parents want. This shows Juliet's nature in the beginning. She is respectful. She is calm. She is still living inside the safe world of her family. She does not yet know that one night will change everything. Meanwhile, Romeo and his friends hear about the Capulet party. Benvolio thinks this is a good chance. If Romeo goes to the party, he may see other beautiful women and forget Rosalind. But there is a problem. Romeo is a Montague. The party is at the house of the Capulets. The two families are enemies. Romeo should not go there. It is dangerous. But Romeo and his friends decide to go in disguise. They will wear masks so people will not recognize them. This decision is the beginning of the main tragedy. Because Romeo goes to the Capulet party to see Rosalind. But destiny takes him to Juliet. Before going, Romeo feels something strange. He has a dark feeling inside. He feels that this night may begin something dangerous. He does not fully understand it. But his heart senses that fate is moving. This creates a powerful feeling in the story. It feels like Romeo is walking toward love, but also toward danger. He thinks he's only going to a party. But actually, he is walking toward the moment that will change his life forever. At the Capulet house, the party begins. There's music, there is dancing, there are lights, there are guests. The atmosphere is beautiful and full of life. Romeo enters with his friends. He is still thinking about Rosalind. But then he sees Juliet, and everything changes. The world around him becomes silent in his heart. His old sadness disappears. His love for Rosalind suddenly looks weak and empty. When Romeo sees Juliet, he feels something different, something pure, something powerful, something unforgettable. He is amazed by her beauty. But it is not only physical beauty. The moment feels spiritual, like his soul has recognized something. Romeo forgets that he is in the house of his enemy. He forgets the danger. He forgets the family name. He only sees Juliet. This is the first great turning point of the story. Romeo came to the party with one heart, but he leaves with another. But danger is already near. Tybalt, Juliet's cousin, recognizes Romeo's voice. He realizes that a Montague has entered the Capulet party. Tybalt becomes angry. For him, Romeo's presence is an insult. He wants to fight immediately. But Lord Capulet stops him. Lord Capulet does not want violence at his party. He also says Romeo is known as a decent young man in Verona. So Tybalt must be quiet. But Tybalt does not forget. His anger remains inside him. This is important because hatred has now seen love before love has even begun. Tybalt's anger will return later. Then Romeo finally speaks to Juliet. Their first conversation is beautiful and poetic. They speak with respect, charm, and deep attraction. They do not yet know each other's names. They do not know they are enemies. They only feel the connection. In that moment, they are not Montague and Capulet. They are only Romeo and Juliet, two young hearts meeting for the first time. They speak, they connect, they kiss, and love is born. But soon, the truth comes. Romeo learns that Juliet is a Capulet. Juliet learns that Romeo is a Montague. This discovery is painful. They have fallen in love with the one person they are supposed to hate. Juliet says a powerful idea in the story. A name should not decide love. Romeo is called Montague, but does that name change who he is? A rose would still smell sweet even if it had another name. This idea is one of the most beautiful messages of the story. It asks, why do we let names, labels, families, groups, and old hate decide who we love and who we hate? Romeo and Juliet do not hate each other. Their families do. Their hearts are innocent. But the world around them is full of old anger. Chapter 2. The Balcony, the Secret Promise, and Love Against the World. After the party, Romeo cannot simply go home. His body leaves the Capulet house, but his heart stays there. Something has changed inside him. Before this night, he thought he understood love. He thought Rosalind was his whole world. But after seeing Juliet, everything feels different. This love is not only a dream in his mind. This love feels alive. It feels close. It feels real. So Romeo separates from his friends and quietly returns toward the Capulet garden. He knows it is dangerous. He knows he is a Montague. He knows that if the Capulets find him there, he could be killed. But love has already made fear smaller. Romeo climbs into the garden area and waits in the darkness. Above him is Juliet's room. Then Juliet comes to the balcony. She does not know Romeo is listening. She thinks she is alone. And because she thinks she is alone, she speaks from her heart. This is one of the most beautiful moments in the story. Juliet is not speaking to impress anyone. She is not acting. She is not hiding behind family rules. She is simply a young girl trying to understand what has happened to her heart. She asks why Romeo must be Romeo. Not because she hates him, but because his name is the problem. If he were not called Montague, loving him would not be dangerous. She understands something deep. The person is not the name. A name is only a word. A family name is only a label. But the heart behind the name is real. Juliet wishes Romeo could leave his name behind. And if he cannot, she feels ready to give up her own name. This shows how strongly she feels. For Juliet, love is already becoming bigger than family identity. Romeo listens from below. He hears her words. He realizes that Juliet loves him too. This moment is powerful because both of them were afraid that their love was one-sided. But now Romeo knows. Juliet's heart has also been touched. So Romeo finally speaks. Juliet is surprised. She's shocked. She asks how he came there and why he would risk his life. Romeo answers with the courage of love. The garden wall cannot stop him. Family hatred cannot stop him. Danger cannot stop him. Because his heart has found Juliet. This scene is beautiful because it is full of tenderness and fear together. They are happy to see each other, but they also know the danger. Their love feels sweet, but the world around them is bitter. Juliet is careful. She is young, but she is not foolish. She worries that Romeo may be speaking from sudden emotion. She does not want empty words. She does not want a love that disappears tomorrow. She wants truth. This makes Juliet very powerful. She's not only innocent, she's also honest. She tells Romeo not to swear fake love. She wants something real. She wants commitment. Romeo is ready. His heart is full. He tells her that his love is serious. In this moment, they are not talking like two people who met only a few hours ago. They are talking like two souls who feel they have found their missing place. But Juliet also knows that love needs responsibility. So their conversation becomes more serious. If Romeo truly loves her, He must not only say beautiful words, he must marry her. This is important. For Juliet, love is not a game. Love is not just secret excitement. Love is not only night, beauty, and sweet words. Love must have honor. Love must have promise. Love must have a future. So they decide to marry secretly. Romeo will arrange the marriage, and Juliet will send someone to know the plan. This is a brave decision. But it is also dangerous. They aren't choosing love in a world where their families would never agree. Their hearts want peace, but their families are still trapped in hate. The balcony scene ends with deep emotion. They do not want to leave each other. Again and again, they say goodbye, but the goodbye feels impossible. Juliet goes inside, then comes back. Romeo waits, then speaks again. It is like their hearts are tied by an invisible thread. This is the intimacy of their love. Not just touching, not just attraction, but the feeling that two hearts have found a home in each other. They are standing apart, but emotionally they are very close. The night becomes their secret world. The darkness protects them. The stars witness them. And their love becomes a promise. But the morning is coming, and with morning, reality will return. Romeo leaves the garden with one thought. He must marry Juliet. He goes to Friar Lawrence. Friar Lawrence is a religious man. He knows Romeo. He is surprised when Romeo says he no longer loves Rosalind and now loves Juliet. At first, Friar Lawrence is doubtful. He thinks Romeo has changed his heart too quickly. But when he hears that Juliet is a Capulet, he sees a possible hope. Maybe this marriage can end the hatred between the Montagues and Capulets. Maybe the love of the children can heal the anger of the parents. So Friar Lawrence agrees to marry them secretly. His intention is peaceful, but the decision is risky. He is trying to use love as medicine for a deep family wound. Soon, Juliet sends her nurse to Romeo. The nurse is close to Juliet. She has cared for Juliet since childhood. She is funny, emotional, talkative, and loving. She wants Juliet to be happy. Romeo gives the message. Juliet must come to Friar Lawrence's cell. There, they will be married. When Juliet hears the news, her heart is full of joy. She goes to Friar Lawrence. Romeo is waiting. The two young lovers stand together. Their families do not know. The city does not know. The world does not know. But in that quiet place, they become husband and wife. This is a very important moment. Their love is no longer only a feeling. It becomes a sacred promise. But this happiness is fragile. It is like a candle burning in the wind. Beautiful, but easy to destroy. Because outside this secret marriage, Verona is still full of hatred, and hatred is already walking toward them. After the wedding, the story changes quickly. Tybalt is still angry because Romeo came to the Capulet party. He wants to fight Romeo. Tybalt sends a challenge. He wants revenge. Later, Romeo meets Tybalt in the street. But Romeo is different now. Before the secret marriage, Tybalt was only Juliet's cousin and Romeo's enemy. Now Tybalt is Romeo's relative through marriage. Romeo cannot explain this secret, but because he loves Juliet, he does not want to fight Tybalt. He speaks calmly. He refuses to fight. To others, this looks strange. Tybalt insults him. But Romeo still tries to avoid violence. This is a painful moment. Romeo is trying to choose love over hate. But the people around him do not understand. Mercutio, Romeo's close friend, becomes angry. Mercutio is sharp, lively, brave, and proud. He thinks Romeo is acting weak. He cannot understand why Romeo refuses to fight. So Mercutio fights Tybalt himself. Romeo tries to stop them. He steps between them. But in the confusion, Tybalt wounds Mercutio. Mercutio is badly hurt. At first, people may think he is joking because Mercutio often jokes. But this time, the wound is real. Death has entered the story. Mercutio curses both families. He understands the truth. This fight is not only between two men, it is the result of the old hatred between the Montagues and Capulets. Mercutio dies. Romeo is shattered. His friend is dead, and now his heart changes. The peaceful Romeo becomes angry. Love tried to stop violence, but violence has taken his friend. Romeo's pain turns into revenge. He fights Tybalt, and Romeo kills him. This is the moment where everything begins to fall apart. Romeo has killed Juliet's cousin. Juliet has just married Romeo. Now her husband has killed her family member. Love and blood are now mixed together. The prince arrives. The families gather. Anger fills the street again. The prince remembers his warning. There has been more violence. Someone must be punished. Romeo is not sentenced to death, but he is banished from Verona. Banished means he must leave the city. If he returns, he can be killed. For Romeo, this punishment feels worse than death, because Verona is where Juliet lives. To be banished from Verona is to be banished from Juliet. When Juliet hears what happened, her heart breaks in two directions. Tybalt was her cousin. Romeo is her husband. She grieves for Tybalt. But her deeper pain is for Romeo's banishment. She's not simple anymore. She's not only the obedient daughter from the beginning. Love has changed her. Pain has made her older in one day. She now understands that love is not only sweetness. Love can also bring suffering. Romeo hides with Friar Lawrence. He is desperate. He thinks banishment is unbearable. He would rather die than live away from Juliet. Friar Lawrence tries to calm him. He tells Romeo to be grateful that he is alive. He tells him to go to Juliet for one night, then leave for Mantua. Later, they will find a way to make everything right. This plan gives Romeo a little hope. That night, Romeo and Juliet meet secretly as husband and wife. This is one of the most emotional moments in the story. They have just begun their love, but already they must separate. The night is full of closeness, tenderness, and sorrow. They want time to stop. They want morning not to come. Because morning means Romeo must leave. Juliet hears a bird and worries it is the morning bird. Romeo wants to stay. Juliet wants him to stay. But if he stays, he may die. Their love is intimate because it is full of feeling, trust, and fear of losing each other. They are together, but separation is already standing in the room. This is the tragedy of their love. Every beautiful moment comes with danger. Every sweet word carries sadness. Every meeting feels like goodbye. Finally, morning comes. Romeo must leave. He climbs down from Juliet's room and goes away. Juliet watches him leave. Her heart feels heavy. She has a dark feeling. It is as if she sees Romeo far below, like someone in a tomb. This feeling is a warning. Their love is moving toward tragedy. After Romeo leaves, Juliet's mother comes. Now another problem begins. Juliet's parents want her to marry Paris. Lord Capulet decides the wedding should happen soon. He thinks this marriage will help Juliet feel better after Tybalt's death. But Juliet cannot marry Paris. She is already married to Romeo, but she cannot tell her parents. If she tells them, everything will explode. So she refuses the marriage. Lord Capulet becomes furious. He does not understand Juliet's heart. He thinks she's ungrateful. He threatens her. He says she must marry Paris or leave his house. This is a terrible moment for Juliet. She's surrounded by people, but she is completely alone. Her father does not understand her. Her mother does not comfort her. The nurse who once supported her love with Romeo now tells her to forget Romeo and marry Paris. This breaks Juliet's heart. The one person she trusted now gives advice that feels like betrayal. Juliet realizes she cannot depend on anyone around her. Her love is secret. Her husband is banished. Her family is forcing her into another marriage. And time is running out. So Juliet makes a brave decision. She will go to Friar Lawrence. She needs help. She needs a plan. She needs a way out. Chapter 3. The Desperate Plan, the Sleeping Potion, and the Silence Before Tragedy. Juliet goes to Friar Lawrence with a broken heart. She is desperate. She does not come only for advice. She comes because she feels trapped. Her family wants her to marry Paris. Romeo is banished. Tybalt is dead. The nurse has disappointed her. Her parents are angry, and nobody knows the truth except Friar Lawrence. Juliet is still very young, but pain has forced her to become brave. She tells Friar Lawrence that if he has no solution, she may choose death rather than marry Paris. This shows how serious her situation is. She's not being dramatic only for attention. She truly feels there is no way out. Her world has become too small. Every door seems closed. Friar Lawrence listens. He wants to help. But the plan he creates is very risky. He gives Juliet a sleeping potion. This potion will make her look dead for a certain time. Her body will become cold. Her breathing will become almost impossible to notice. Her family will believe she has died. They will place her in the Capulet tomb. Then, when she wakes up, Romeo will come. Friar Lawrence will send a message to Romeo in Mantua. Romeo will know the truth. He will come to the tomb. Juliet will wake. Then Romeo and Juliet can escape together. It is a dangerous plan, but Juliet accepts it. Why? Because she feels she has no other choice. She cannot tell her parents. She cannot marry Paris. She cannot live without Romeo. So she chooses the path of risk. This is one of the strongest moments for Juliet. She is afraid, but she does not run from the decision. She takes the potion from Friar Lawrence. Now she must go home and act normal. She must pretend to agree to the marriage. She must hide the storm inside her heart. This is very painful. Because sometimes the deepest suffering is silent. People around you may think you are fine, but inside, you may be carrying a war. Juliet returns home. She tells her father that she will obey. Lord Capulet becomes happy. He thinks Juliet has changed her mind. He does not know she is preparing for something terrifying. He becomes excited for the wedding. He moves the wedding earlier. This makes the situation even more dangerous. Time becomes shorter. Juliet now has less time. The plan must happen quickly. That night, Juliet is alone in her room. This is one of the most emotional scenes in the story. She holds the potion. Her family is nearby, but they cannot help her. Romeo is far away. Friar Lawrence's plan is uncertain. And Juliet must drink the potion alone. She begins to think of every possible fear. What if the potion does not work? What if it is poison? What if she wakes up too early in the tomb? What if Romeo does not come? What if she is trapped among the dead bodies of her ancestors? What if she loses her mind in the darkness? These fears are terrifying. Juliet is not fearless. She is human. Her imagination is full of darkness. But love gives her courage. She thinks of Romeo. And finally, she drinks the potion. This moment is powerful because Juliet chooses love over safety. She chooses truth over a false marriage. She chooses the unknown over betrayal of her heart. Then she falls into a deep sleep. The next morning, the Capulet house is full of wedding preparation. Everyone is busy. Servants are working. The family is getting ready. Paris is expected. Music, food, clothes, and celebration are being prepared. But then they find Juliet. She does not wake up. She looks dead. The wedding day becomes a funeral day. Joy becomes sorrow. Music becomes crying. Hope becomes grief. Lord Capulet is destroyed. Lady Capulet is heartbroken. The nurse cries loudly. Paris also grieves. Everyone believes Juliet is dead. But the audience knows the truth. Juliet is not dead. She is sleeping. This creates a painful tension. We know she can still live. But we also know the plan can fail. Juliet's body is taken to the Capulet tomb. The tomb becomes the center of the final tragedy. A place of silence. A place of death. A place where love is waiting to wake up. Meanwhile, Friar Lawrence sends a message to Romeo. The message must tell him the truth. Juliet is not dead. She has taken a sleeping potion. Come to the tomb. Be there when she wakes up. Escape with her. If this message reaches Romeo, the plan may work. But fate turns cruel. The message does not reach Romeo. There is a problem with delivery. Friar John, the person carrying the message, is stopped because of sickness and quarantine concerns. He cannot deliver the letter. Romeo remains unaware. This is one of the most tragic parts of the story. A letter fails. One message does not arrive. And because of that, everything changes. Sometimes tragedy does not come from lack of love. Sometimes tragedy comes from delay, silence, misunderstanding, and one missing truth. Romeo is in Mantua. He is far from Verona. He does not know Friar Lawrence's plan. Then Romeo's servant Balthazar arrives. Balthazar has seen Juliet placed in the tomb. He believes she is truly dead. So he tells Romeo the terrible news. Juliet is dead. Romeo's world collapses. He does not question deeply. He does not wait. He does not receive the real letter. He only hears that Juliet is dead. And for Romeo, if Juliet is dead, life has lost meaning. His love is not balanced by patience now. It is controlled by grief. He decides to return to Verona, but not to live. He decides to die beside Juliet. Romeo goes to buy poison. This shows how deeply he has fallen into despair. He does not think of another way. He does not think that maybe there is a misunderstanding. He does not think to first speak to Friar Lawrence. Pain pushes him toward a final decision. This is one of the tragic lessons of the story. When emotion becomes too powerful, people can make irreversible choices. Romeo buys the poison and travels back to Verona. His heart is broken. He believes he is going to Juliet's grave. He believes love has ended. But we know the painful truth. Juliet is still alive. She is sleeping. She will wake soon. This creates a heartbreaking feeling. Romeo is rushing toward death while Juliet is waiting to wake into life. Love is close to being saved, but time is against them. At the same time, Paris also goes to Juliet's tomb. He loved Juliet in his own way. He believes she died before becoming his wife. He brings flowers. He mourns her. Then Romeo arrives at the tomb. Paris sees him and thinks Romeo has come to dishonor the dead because Romeo is a Montague and was connected to Tybalt's death. Paris tries to stop him. Romeo does not want to fight. He is already full of death in his mind. He warns Paris to leave, but Paris refuses. They fight. Romeo kills Paris. This adds more sorrow to the tragedy. Another young life is lost because of confusion, family hatred, and the storm around Romeo and Juliet. Before dying, Paris asks to be placed near Juliet. Romeo, moved by pity, agrees. Then Romeo enters the tomb. He sees Juliet. She looks dead, but she is still beautiful. She is not truly dead. The potion still holds her in sleep. This moment is almost unbearable. Romeo is standing beside the living Juliet, but he believes she is dead. He speaks to her with deep pain. He looks at her face. He remembers his love. He cannot imagine a world without her. For him, the tomb is no longer only a place of death. It is the last place where he can be close to Juliet. This is the most painful intimacy of the story. Not romance and happiness, but love standing beside death. Romeo wants to stay with Juliet forever. He drinks the poison, and he dies beside her. Soon after, Friar Lawrence arrives at the tomb. He knows Juliet will wake soon. He hopes to reach her in time. But when he enters, he sees the disaster. Paris is dead. Romeo is dead. The plan has failed. Then Juliet begins to wake. She opens her eyes. She looks for Romeo. For a moment, she believes the plan has worked. But then she sees him. Romeo is beside her, dead. The poison has taken him. Juliet's heart breaks completely. Friar Lawrence is afraid because people are coming. He tells Juliet to leave. He says he can place her somewhere safe. But Juliet does not want to leave. Her love, her hope, her future, her Romeo, all are lying dead before her. Friar Lawrence runs away. Juliet remains. She sees the poison cup. There is no poison left for her. She kisses Romeo, hoping maybe some poison remains on his lips. But it is not enough. Then she takes Romeo's dagger, and she ends her life beside him. The two lovers are now dead, together, in the tomb. Their families tried to keep them apart in life, but now death has joined them. Chapter 4. The city wakes up, the families break down, and love becomes eternal. After Romeo and Juliet die in the tomb, the silence does not stay silent for long. Soon people begin to arrive. The night is disturbed. Guards come near the tomb. They see blood. They see Paris dead. They see Romeo dead. They see Juliet dead. This is not a normal death. This is not one family's private sorrow. This is a tragedy that belongs to the whole city. Verona must now face the result of its hatred. The guards bring people together. The prince is called. The Montague family comes. The Capulet family comes. Friar Lawrence is found. Balthazar is questioned. Everyone is confused. Everyone is shocked. Everyone wants to understand what happened. And then the truth begins to come out. The truth that was hidden behind family pride. The truth that was hidden behind fear. The truth that Romeo and Juliet had kept secret because the world around them was too full of hate to accept their love. Friar Lawrence explains everything. He tells the prince that Romeo and Juliet loved each other. He tells them that they were secretly married. He tells them that he married them because he hoped their love could end the family hatred. He explains Juliet's forced marriage to Paris. He explains the sleeping potion. He explains the plan. He explains the letter that never reached Romeo. He explains how one mistake, one delay, and one misunderstanding turned hope into death. The families listen. And now, they cannot escape the truth. Their children did not die because love was evil. Their children died because hatred was stronger than wisdom. Romeo and Juliet wanted love, but their families gave them war. Romeo and Juliet wanted peace, but their families gave them pride. Romeo and Juliet wanted a future, but their families gave them fear. This is the most painful moment in the story, because now the Montagues and Capulets understand everything, but they understand too late. This is one of the deepest tragedies of life. Sometimes people realize the value of love only after they lose it. Lord Capulet looks at Juliet. His daughter, once full of life, now lies silent. The same Juliet he tried to control. The same Juliet he wanted to marry to Paris. The same Juliet whose heart he did not understand. Now she's gone. Lord Montague looks at Romeo. His son, young and emotional, now lies dead beside the girl he loved. Romeo was not only a Montague. Juliet was not only a Capulet. They were children. They were hearts. They were human beings. But their family names became heavier than their lives. The prince speaks with sorrow and anger. He tells both families that their hatred has brought punishment. Not from enemies, not from strangers, but from their own actions. The punishment is the death of their own children. This is powerful because the prince is not only blaming Romeo or Juliet. He is showing the bigger truth. The whole city allowed this hatred to continue. The families fed it. The young men fought for it. The elders failed to stop it. And now innocent love has paid the price. Romeo and Juliet's deaths become a mirror that shows everyone what hatred really costs. Before this moment, the families may have thought their rivalry was pride. They may have thought it was honor. They may have thought it was tradition. They may have thought it was loyalty to their family name. But now they see the truth. It was poison. It destroyed their peace. It destroyed their children. It destroyed their future. Finally, the two families break. Their anger breaks. Their pride breaks. Their old hatred breaks. Lord Capulet and Lord Montague agree to end the feud. They decide to honor Romeo and Juliet. They speak of building statues for them. Gold statues. Beautiful statues. So the city will remember their love forever. But even this beautiful promise is full of pain. Because statues cannot bring them back. Gold cannot replace their voices. Honor cannot undo death. Peace has come. But it has come at a terrible price. This is why the ending of Romeo and Juliet is unforgettable. The families finally stop fighting, but only after the lovers are gone. The city finally understands love, but only after love has died. The old hatred finally ends, but only after young hearts are sacrificed. Romeo and Juliet become more than two lovers. They become a lesson, a warning, a memory, a symbol. Their love was short, but it was powerful. They did not live a long life together. They did not grow old together. They did not build a home together. They did not walk through many years together. But in the little time they had, they loved with complete sincerity. Their love was innocent, deep, emotional, secret, brave, and painful. They lived in a world that told them to hate each other, but their hearts refused. They were born into enemy families, but they saw each other as souls. Romeo did not love Juliet because she was a Capulet. Juliet did not love Romeo because he was a Montague. They loved each other beyond the names, beyond the labels, beyond the rules of hatred. That is what makes their love beautiful. Their love says, a name is not the soul. A family fight is not the heart. Old hatred should not decide young love. The world may create walls, but the heart still searches for connection. Their intimacy was not only in their meetings, it was in their trust. It was in the way they spoke to each other. It was in the way Juliet wanted truth, not empty promises. It was in the way Romeo risked everything just to be near her. It was in the way they chose love even when the world made love dangerous. They did not have much time, but every moment between them felt alive. The party was their beginning. The balcony was their promise. The secret marriage was their hope. The night before separation was their pain. And the tomb became their final meeting place. This is the heartbreaking beauty of the story. Their love began with light, music, and wonder. But it ended in darkness, silence, and tears. Still, even death could not make their love feel small. In fact, their death made the whole city finally understand the greatness of what they shared. Romeo and Juliet's love was not perfect. They were young, they were fast, they were emotional, they made dangerous choices. But their love revealed a truth that the older generation had forgotten. Love is more powerful than family pride. Peace is more important than ego. Life is more precious than revenge. And hatred always asks for payment. Sometimes the payment is paid by innocent people. The story also teaches us about communication. If the families had spoken honestly, maybe the tragedy could have been avoided. If Romeo had received the letter, maybe he would have waited. If Juliet had been able to tell her parents the truth, maybe there could have been another way. If people had listened before judging, maybe the ending would have been different. But nobody listened early enough. That is why silence becomes dangerous in this story. Love was forced to hide. Truth was delayed. Messages failed. Fear grew. And death came before understanding. This story also teaches us about time. Romeo and Juliet had only a short time together, but their short love changed the long hatred of two families. This is very powerful. Sometimes one pure love can expose years of darkness. Sometimes one tragedy can wake up people who refuse to listen. Sometimes one loss can teach what many warnings could not teach. Romeo and Juliet did not live to see peace, but their love created peace after them. This makes the ending both sad and beautiful. Sad because they are gone. Beautiful because their love was not meaningless. Their love ended the feud. Their love changed Verona. Their love became eternal. The prince gives the final feeling of the story. He says that there has never been a story of more sorrow than the story of Juliet and her Romeo. This line stays in the heart because it reminds us that this is not a happy ending. But it is a meaningful ending. And sometimes the most unforgettable stories are not the happiest ones. They are the ones that make us feel deeply, think deeply, and remember deeply. Romeo and Juliet is not famous only because two young people fall in love. It is famous because their love stands against hate. It is famous because their story is beautiful and painful at the same time. It is famous because their ending makes us ask important questions. Why do people continue hatred they do not even understand? Why do families sometimes choose pride over peace? Why do young hearts suffer because of old anger? Why do people realize love's value only after losing it? These questions make the story timeless. Even today, Romeo and Juliet feels alive because the world still has division. Families still fight. People still judge names, groups, status, religion, culture, and background. People still carry old hatred. People still forget that behind every label, there is a human heart. That is why this story still matters. It tells us, do not let hate become tradition. Do not let pride become stronger than love. Do not let anger destroy what is innocent. Do not wait until death teaches you the value of peace. My friends, Romeo and Juliet is one of the most beautiful and heartbreaking stories ever written. It begins with hatred. It moves into love. It rises into hope. It falls into tragedy. And it ends with a lesson the world can never forget. Romeo and Juliet were born into two enemy families, but their hearts did not understand hatred. Their hearts only understood love. They found each other in a world that wanted to keep them apart. They loved each other in secret because society gave them no safe place to love openly. And in the end, their love became a sacrifice. A sacrifice that finally ended the anger between the Montagues and Capulets. But the peace came too late. That is the pain of this story. Peace should not need death. Families should not need tragedy to understand love. People should not wait until the grave to forgive each other. This story teaches us to choose love before it is too late. To choose peace before pride destroys everything. To listen before judging. To forgive before the heart becomes stone. To stop hatred before it reaches the next generation. Romeo and Juliet did not get a long life, but they became eternal in literature. Their love became a symbol of young love, a symbol of forbidden love, a symbol of pure emotion, a symbol of the terrible cost of hatred. Their story still touches hearts because deep inside, every human being understands the desire to be loved beyond names, beyond labels, beyond boundaries, and beyond the world's judgment. Romeo and Juliet remind us that love is delicate. Love needs protection. Love needs truth. Love needs peace around it. And if love is surrounded by hatred, even the most beautiful feeling can become a tragedy. So remember this. Do not let hate win early and cry for love later. Do not let ego speak louder than the heart. Do not let old anger destroy young dreams. And do not wait until loss teaches you what love was worth. Romeo and Juliet lived for a short time, but their love still lives. In books, on stages, in films, in classrooms, in hearts, and in every person who believes that love should be stronger than hate. That is why the world still remembers them. Not because their love was easy, but because their love was brave. Not because their ending was happy, but because their story was unforgettable. Romeo and Juliet lost their lives, but their love gave Verona a truth. Hatred can destroy families. Pride can destroy futures. But love, even when it is broken by death, can still leave a light behind. And that light can shine for hundreds of years.